Here's the thing. We can talk about our numbers in New York City. Our guns are down, numbers of gangs are down, our shootings are down, our homicides are down. But when you are standing at a Home Depot or a retail store and you push that button waiting for the guy to come and give you your product and you have to stand there and wait, then you go online and you pay your bill. And as you're standing there, like every good person will do, to pay your bill, you look at the exit and you see people either with duffel bags or pallets or garbage bags walking out of the store without paying their bill. So we can talk about the numbers being down in the city of New York on all these crimes, and they are, by the way, and it took good work to get them there. But when you're standing on that line watching people walk out the door without paying the bill, to you, crime's at 100%. And that's what we're here today to address. First, I want to thank Governor Hochul for making the trip, as she always does, into Queens County. We always love seeing you here. I want to thank Major James Brown, the New York State Police Special Investigative Unit. We want to thank members of my Crime Strategies and Intelligence Bureau and detective investigators from my office as well. So good morning. See, today we're here to announce the takedown of the largest and most brazen retail theft crew that we have ever prosecuted in the county of Queens County. We have a total of 13 defendants that are charged in a 780-count indictment for allegedly stealing and fencing more than $2.2 million in merchandise as part of 319 separate thefts at 128 Home Depots in 9 states. And that's what we're here today to announce. This investigation originated in my office using existing tools at our disposal, as well as so many additional tools enacted in law by our governor last year and years before. We allege that this crew met up in Queens County, hatched their plan in Queens County, and transported the stolen product to Queens and then sell them for a profit. The top charge in the indictment is grand larceny in the first degree, criminal possession, and criminal possession of stolen property in the first degree. All defendants are charged with the conspiracy. As alleged, this crew was amazingly coordinated, disciplined, meticulous, and dedicated. If everyone worked as efficiently in this country, productivity would be at an all-time high. It's amazing how organized this crew was. On Wednesday, December 10th, members of my office, in partnership with the state police, arrested 11 out of the 13 defendants. These defendants were arraigned yesterday before Judge Kirshner. The head of the organization, Armando Diaz, was remanded. The other members of the theft crew were given $500,000. Were given $1 million in bail, except for Victor, who was given $500,000 in bail. The fences were separate out on a supervised release. This crew was divided into 2 crews. The members of the theft crew, they all face 25 years in prison. The members of the fencing crew face 15 years if convicted. We also executed search warrants at 3 residences in Flushing, Elmhurst, and Brooklyn, 14 storage units at 2 storage facilities in the Bronx, and 8 vehicles. The warrants, just so you know, we charged $2.2 million in the indictment. In front of you, you have a small percentage of what we picked up yesterday with our search warrants just during the arrests. It equals, in all, about $1.5 million in additional merchandise. What you see in front of you on the tables is 1% of the stolen merchandise that was stolen in this crew, by this crew. According to the indictment, Armando Diaz, in the evening before they would go out and steal the products, would decide on which items to be stolen by the Home Depots by checking their in-store inventory online. The theft would meet up with the theft crew, which was run by Armando, who started their day at 5 a.m. by driving the van to the crew's meetup spot in a parking lot at 57th and Hoffman in Queens. There, he met with the other 7 members of the theft crew, at least one of whom would drive what we call the chase car, the second car. So this is how it went. The evening before, they would look online to see what to steal and which Home Depot to steal from. The next morning, Armando Diaz would drive to meeting up the rest of the crew. They then would take 2 cars to the Home Depots of the choice of that day. They then would steal the products, put them in the cars, put them in the vehicles, go to lunch. Then they'd come out and do another round of stealing from Home Depots, sometimes doing the same Home Depot 4 times in one day. And then they would go to a fence after that. Then they'd go to dinner. Then they'd go back, rinse and repeat the next day. It was very organized. Some of the most popular items included construction materials such as house insulation, reflective roof coating, house wrap, spray foam. Now, in the colder months, when the majority of the construction typically slows down across the city, they focused on stealing power tools and rolls of wiring that I'm sure all of you know how to use. I don't. That's why majority of the products you see here are exactly those items. It's winter month. During the warmer months, they stole air conditioning units. So they managed to get what the constituency needed at that time. And they also did things like on Halloween, stole Halloween stuff and then put it on their lawn. Then the evergreen items, which, by the way, there is a huge market for carbon monoxide detectors and electrical outlets, not depending upon the season. They couldn't get them out fast enough. They stole from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Delaware, and Maryland. They stole from Home Depots from across those states. They typically parked close to the exit of the store, possibly to allow them to quickly move their stolen merchandise into the van. The crew stayed connected on active conference calls while they were in their heist, so they could talk about it, and they could talk about what was needed and where the products were and who was distracting who. The typical theft lasted around 40 to 60 minutes. Each member kept an eye out for security guards or employees at the premises. We're going to show you several videos that illustrate exactly how this theft crew operated. The first video is September 3rd, 2025. It's a Home Depot in New Rochelle. The defendant, Francisco Ayala Ariza, allegedly distracting the Home Depot employee, while defendant Atis Toro pushes the cart out the entrance only and prying open the doors because he couldn't get out. Right out the door. And again, these are small examples since so many millions of dollars of products were stolen. Video 2, May 15th, 2025, Home Depot in Brooklyn, New York. Defendant Diaz allegedly packing smoke and carbon monoxide alarms into large garbage bags or bins before they are wheeled out of the store through the entrance-only door. and you're out. The next one is September 6, 2025 in Farmingdale, New York. Defendant Cal allegedly breaking, you know the ones that are locked up where you usually have to call someone? He broke the cage into the power tool cage and stealing tools. And the fourth video is July 9th, 2025 at Seabury Street in Elmhurst. Defendant David Montoya allegedly receives stolen power tools from 3 of the other defendants. Montoya then pays Toro in cash. By all accounts, this is a full-time job for these defendants. They took lunch, they took nap breaks, they took shifts. If a particular store had a full inventory of the product, they showed up that day. We've mapped out 8 locations most frequently targeted in these thefts, as well as the lost value on a press board beside me. After the products were stolen, the theft crew needed to get rid of them as a way to feed the theft crew's salaries. Stolen products were sold in Queens, the Bronx, and Brooklyn to fences at 50 to 70% of the retail value, shifting the resulting losses, by the way, to the law-abiding customers who were paying the bill, standing online, waiting. Our big break came in June 2024. While surveilling a suspected retail fencing location in Queens in an unrelated investigation, detective investigators from my office spotted a truck unloading 5 fully loaded boxes and air conditioning units from Home Depot. From there, my office conducted surveillance using license plate readers and court-authorized wires. Home Depot was crucial partners in this investigation and provided video and documentary evidence. Members of my Crime Strategies and Intelligence Bureau reached out to Home Depot, and our industry partner confirmed an ongoing theft operation they were tracking from Armando Diaz. We pledged our full support and went from there. This is the thing. We're entering retail season. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, everything's coming up now. People shouldn't have hiked prices because others are just taking things off the wall and walking out the store with them. And everybody that sees that, it's hard to believe that crime isn't high, right? Because you're seeing it happen in front of you. And the truth is, it is getting lowered. But that is happening in front of you. So the message today, though, however, if you look, a lot of these were in the past. The message today is organized retail crime will not go unanswered in this borough. We will find you. We will investigate the crime. And we will use all the tools given to us by the legislature and by our great governor to prosecute you in that line. Our office built this case from the ground up. Shannon LaCourte and Brandy Kligman from my Crime Strategies and Intelligence Bureau. They built the case with detective investigators that work with this office and the state police. Lieutenant Joseph Oliver, Gately, Christopher Gately, Richard Strauss, and Sergeant David Moore, and our Chief LaPalo. And so we want to thank everyone, especially the state police, for their partnership. We could not do this without the laws that are changed by the legislature and by Governor Hochul. We charged under the laws today that were changed in '24. We also value the state police that the governor has deemed in her discretion to station here at the DA's office to work with us, and we thank her for that work. And now I present to you the governor of the state of New York, Kathy Hochul.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think the district attorney explained very clearly why we're here, to send one message to those brazen enough to undertake something of this scale here in the state of New York and in other states. Your days are numbered. You commit these crimes, We're coming after you. You will be caught, you will be prosecuted, and you'll regret the day you ever started trying to rip off businesses like Home Depot and others across our country. So I'm proud of what you've done here. We don't take for granted the work of our district attorneys and our state police and the investigators and the DA's staff and the local police. It takes a whole effort. But the bottom line is there are people spending every waking hour trying to figure out how to rip off other people. And the result is your prices are higher than they ever should have been. That is a fact, because stores have to figure out a way to absorb these costs. Billions of dollars every year lost because of retail theft across our country. Now, here in the state of New York, we take this very seriously. That is why we started to see an increase in retail theft. We jumped right on this. We passed laws that allowed people to aggregate more cases together, even if it wasn't from the same store, to add up to the threshold to call it a felony instead of a misdemeanor. That way we could arrest many more people with higher charges and hold them longer. Number one, that's number one. Number two, resources. I talked to my district attorneys. I talked to Melinda Katz many times. What do you need? How can I fortify your operations? Well, it comes down to money. We allocated $40 million to support our district attorneys, create a unit within the state police, and I'm so proud of the work they do, hiring over 100 people from the state police to focus on this alone, but also giving you the resources. And you mentioned license plate readers and other technologies, drones, etc. A lot of that is coming from us investing money into local policing as well. Since I've been governor, we've invested $3 billion in fighting crime. Today, you see some of those results. We're not done. One crime is one too many, but we know what we're doing. We're leaning hard into this, and as a result of these changes, just in a very short time, since we changed the laws and put money behind this effort, retail theft crimes are down 14% in the city and across the state of New York. Now, that is huge because the number was going up. We stopped the escalation, it flattened, and now it's declining. So we're going to continue. We believe in this mission, and it is to keep people, other store patrons, safe. As the DA mentioned, it is very unsettling to be in a store, whether it's a Dwayne Reed trying to get your toothpaste or at a Home Depot. It's unsettling to be in a store, not sure whether or not the people who are committing the crimes have weapons, whether they're going to assault the retail workers, which is why we increased our penalties on retail workers, assaults on them, but also any way we can. We're going to be always listening to our partners. What else do you need to be more effective? And we will make sure that the state is there for you. So I want to thank everyone involved in this. Statewide, our organized retail task force has recovered, including this, almost $4 million. And I'm proud of the work you've done. We've had 1,200 arrests, 2,200 charges. And as I mentioned, this happens when people work together toward a common cause to let the bad guys know, you do this, you commit the crime, you'll do the time. And as we enter this holiday season, people should walk into stores with that sense of security, that they're not going to be caught in the crossfire or be involved in something that they never would have expected when they simply went out to get their kids some holiday gifts. So it's a new day in New York. Crime is down. We're working hard together. And I'm proud of the work we're doing. We're going to continue doing it. And I want to thank, again, my state police. And I would like to call up at this time Major James Brown, our detail commander for our Special Investigations Unit. You're doing extraordinary work. But also to all the people in the DA's office, the staff, although who show up every single day. Your sole mission in life is to keep our people safe. And I'm eternally grateful for that as your governor. Thank you very much.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. I want to start by thanking Governor Hochul for her continued support of the New York State Police. I'd also like to thank District Attorney Katz for her partnership with our agency and for working another great case with our unit. We understand the continued frustration over retail theft. It harms businesses and the public. This case underlines our shared commitment to ensuring the people who are committing these crimes are held accountable. Today's announcement is the result of a major joint investigation into two connected organized retail theft operations known as Freddy the Fence and Operation Self-Checkout. These groups operated throughout New York State and several other Northeast states. and stole more than $2 million in merchandise. Our Special Investigations Unit began this case in April 2024 after identifying large amounts of stolen Home Depot merchandise being sold online. That work led investigators to a fencing operation run by Freddie Padilla, who was moving stolen goods out of storage facilities in the Bronx. At the same time, Queens District Attorney's Office was investigating a theft crew led by Armando Diaz. His group was committing large-scale thefts from Home Depot and Lowe's stores throughout the Northeast. Their stolen items were often funneled directly to Padilla for resale. Once that connection was discovered, our agencies combined efforts and conducted an 18-month investigation. As a result of this work, investigators identified 13 individuals involved in these schemes, numerous fencing locations, and several vehicles used to transport the stolen property. These suspects were organized, prepared. They had a plan. They went out almost every day with one goal in mind: to steal. They targeted stores like Home Depot. They went out in small teams. They used distraction methods. They blatantly stole merchandise, and they quickly delivered the stolen items to fencing locations for resale. One thing is certain: these suspects had no regard for the law or the businesses they stole from. These suspects are now facing indictment on charges that include grand larceny in the first degree, criminal possession of stolen property in the first degree, both be felonies, and conspiracy in the fourth degree. In closing, I want to thank District Attorney Katz and her team for their continued partnership and support. I especially want to recognize the New York State Police Special Investigations Unit for their exceptional work on this case. I'd also like to thank State Police and Troop NYC, Troop L, as well as HSI, who provided a significant amount of help with this investigation. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to point out that the foresight that the governor and her office had in placing state police here and having that partnership was really remarkable, efficient, and helpful in taking down this organization, and I'm grateful to her for that. And I also just, I want to just end with this before we answer questions on topic, which is that, there's a certain sense of unfairness when you're standing in that line waiting to pay your bill, and people are just thwarting the law and walking out of the store without paying for it. That unfairness turns to a great illegality and laws that are being broken when you continue to do so on a regular basis and we don't stop, and it's not being stopped. And so I guess my message to those as we enter the retail season of the holidays is just because you get away with it once doesn't mean that when you come back and do it again, we're not watching, especially in these stores. So don't think that just because you got away there once that nothing's going to come back to you. These guys did it for a long time and thought they were getting away with it, and they didn't. So that's my only message as we enter our holiday season, and people are paying good, hard-earned money in order to buy their family and friends the gifts and things that people need during this season. Brendan.
Questions on topic? Marla?
So, it would almost seem to defy logic that these guys would hit up a Home Depot 4 times in one day and nobody stops them, and they see them on the cameras, they see what they're doing. Was there a policy that security guards were not to interact with these guys, or how did that happen?
I think that's a question you have to ask Home Depot, but I will tell you that they were amazing partners in this investigation and in this prosecution. So they did keep track of what was stolen, and we were able to use it in our evidence because they took such meticulous records, and we were able to match what we found with the records that they kept. So we've been working with them. They're great partners in this. And look, I think there is a worry on the retail stores when someone, as the governor said, when someone is stopped, the workers that are there don't know if they have weapons. They don't know what they did. Here's a guy that just broke open a cage for big, heavy weapons here. And when he's stopped, who knows, right? So at the end of the day, and I'm talking more general, not really this case, I think workers risk something, and we have to keep that in mind. And we have to supplement what we can to help them in that.
Ruben?
For the governor, please. Governor, in light of the progress you've made, bringing down retail, I'm wondering, have you put any thought into getting drugstores to stop locking their stuff up? Because it's, as you know, taking 20 minutes to get a bar or so, it's making people actually shop less at such places.
We've had those conversations to say, I understand the crisis situation we were in a few years ago when people are walking in, I mean, not just even these organized ones, unorganized people walking in and sweeping the shelves and just taking it down the alley and jumping in a vehicle and selling it on eBay or in their neighborhood. So there was a time when that was necessary, but we're trying to work with them to let them see that we have changed the laws, we put money behind it, and the statistics are showing a very different environment, and that's something that we would encourage them to do. But we'll keep having the conversations about hoping they feel secure enough themselves. And we also provided money for security cameras for our smaller businesses where that was a prohibitive expense. So people should be more equipped now than they were a couple of years ago when that practice started. So I'll tell them you want them opened up again.
But if I can, the cameras are priceless to us in our investigations and in our prosecutions, as you saw from the 4 videos. And, the governor's being very modest, but let me just say this. They changed the law. Governor Hochul and the legislature changed the law a year ago to make it so that the price of these items for our prosecutions could be aggregated. So you steal from Duane Reade, you steal from Walgreens, you steal from CVS. We can aggregate that now in our prosecution. And it really is a huge help to us when we're holding people accountable. And it should be a help in getting the drugstores lower in their thefts.
Over here, and then Andrew.
Hi.
Following up with the question right here, in regards to the videos you showed right now.
Yes, ma'am.
But when it comes to, is this already like settled, the investigation? Are you still looking into different other videos? I'm talking about it because sometimes these type of situations also there's employees who are also involved. So want to know if there is any other investigation you guys are going.
So we are constantly investigating, and as you know from my gang takedowns, when we take down one gang, we investigate that area again to make sure no one's filling that vacuum. So right now, this is about an indictment that we filed and arraigned the defendants on yesterday. It is a 2.2 odd indictment, $2 million indictment. We picked up more merchandise, which is about $1.5 million. We will add that to our investigation as we move forward and to our charges. But we never stop investigating, and that is the point today. That you might think that we picked all these guys up for this Home Depot theft ring and that we're going away. We're not going away. We're going to continue to investigate. We're going to continue to work with all of the retail stores, for me in the borough of Queens, for the governor in the state of New York, until people start feeling safer and going out and being able to go to these stores and make sure that they feel safe doing it.
Andrew, were there any candid conversations with Home Depot about the security risks of having self-checkout in the first place? You mentioned, I think, DA, that the theft makes them raise prices, it adds cost, but isn't part of what they were doing in the first place is saving costs by eliminating employees and opening up self-checkout? Is that a security component of all of this that they sort of may have unintentionally created?
I'm going to look at my staff and say, no, we never had those conversations, because we have conversations regarding the defendants and the suspects, and they are the ones, make no mistake about it. I mean, they are the ones, the defendants are the ones who went in, distracted the employees, tried fooling people by filling up large garbage boxes of material and merchandise, took out pallets while someone knocked on the employee's shoulder to turn them the other way. So this is not about victim blaming. This is about the defendants and the acts that they committed.
And just a real quick follow-up. The daily road trips they took, they were not, did they at all target any of the Home Depots in Queens?
So we have a board there. The ones in Queens, I know Elmhurst, right? But I don't know what other ones in Queens did they hit. Shannon? Elmhurst. But this is the thing with all of the 9 states. Whatever they did, they planned it in Queens. The head of it lived in Queens. The van was kept at his apartment, his house in Queens. They met in Elmhurst on Hoffman in order to pick up the theft crew. They left from Queens, and at the end of the night, they ended up back in Queens for Armando to continue to look to see what they should steal the next day. So we can get you a list of exactly, there's 128 depots involved in this, and we will get you a list of all of them.
One more on topic. All right,
We appreciate it. I'd like to show you some of the weapons.
Sure.
I'm used to saying weapons. Some of the retail.
I know, we've done here, we've taken down guns.
So this is son-in-law, right? This is little one, right? Now, these types of products, right, but in the winter, they tended to get more inside pouches because people can't work on the outside. They're very expensive. We think this whole table is $40,000 about the table. It's only 1% of what was picked up. Now, wire is a huge thing because of the cost of wire. So, always year round. It's a big thing.
Well done, let's get it back on the shelves.
Thank you, that's right, that's right. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Governor.
Appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for all the help.